Zahidi, I found a pod down here guarded by monsters. I've secured it.
What's up everyone, it's HK Gaming. Today I have for you a Technomancer build that will help you to farm the T15 level with no problem. First, let's go over the skills and the skill tree that we're using. For the skill, we'll be using the Bladed Rounds, Bladed Turret, and Cryo Turret. Bladed Rounds will be our core idea of this build. This will help us to do a crazy amount of damage. And the two turrets will be helping us to apply the frozen effects. And then also attract the enemies to give us more time and space to do damage. For the skill tree, we'll be going for the Pestilent. Since we are relying on the Bladed Rounds to do damage, we'll be using a lot of our weapons. You want this 15% of critical damage and this exposing toxic. This will also apply vulnerable status effects on the enemies, and this boosts up 40% more effective on the effects. What this effect does is that the enemies with the vulnerable will take 25% more damage for 10 seconds. And that 40% more effective means that we now have 10% more. So that's 35% more damage to the enemies. And then we'll want to follow the top path. What we also want is the Purge. It's like a passive 10% more damage to the enemy since we're using the Bladed Rounds. And we'll be using the Assault weapons, so we'll go with the Assault Master. And then just follow the top path, but one thing to keep in mind that you have to have these two sides of the power, otherwise you won't have enough damage. Even though you take 15% more damage, it is still worth it, trust me. The more damage you do, the safer you are. The combat is very fast paced, there's no time for you to think or hide or use cover. You want to take out the enemies as soon as they spawn. Since the finish time affects your rewards, you want to finish a fight before things get ugly. And this 50% of the magazine size is crazy. And this 30% more damage and this deploying the turret give you 40% more weapon damage for 10 seconds, which the cooldown itself is only 7 seconds. So this is almost like a passive. Even though you don't use the turret every 7 seconds, it's still a crazy amount of bonus weapon damage. You'll be super fragile but also at the same time super tanky as well, since the damage you do with every single shot will almost heal half of your life. And the last skill point will spend on the health regeneration as well, so you won't have to worry about surviving at all. And for the weapon, we'll be using an assault rifle tactical version. It might not be the best choice for other classes, but since we have that extra 50% of the magazine size, we'll have 45 bullets for a single clip, doing 6000 base damage every single shot. If you have a higher firepower assault rifle, it will be higher. And for the attribute, try to find a weapon life leech, firepower or close range damage. That would be the best. But since our class will heal whenever we hit, the attribute with weapon life leech is not as important. The most important part is the mod. We'll want the depth change, which will apply a dot damage over time with a crazy amount of damage. Or you can use the knighting mod, but I don't like to use it since the effects is very disturbing in the combat. And we'll want to craft the killing spree into the weapon. Killing shots will increase your damage by 25% for this weapon for 20 seconds, and the bonus go up to 3 times, so that's 75%. And the second weapon and the sidearm, just go with whatever highest firepower. And for the helmet, I'm using a bonus firepower, close range damage and long range damage. If you see something like this, try to save it and then level up to level 50. Damage is the most important thing in this game, and it's super hard to see a gear with all damage attribute. And for the mods, we'll be using the ice component, which will turn the bladed turret with a freeze effect. Since the bladed rounds already applies the toxic effects, an extra freezing turret can give us a little bit more CC. A lot of the time enemies come 360. More CC you have, the safer you are. And the second mod, we are using the toxic lid. Killing enemies with toxic effects will give you 40% of ammo for your magazine. This will ensure us to have the bladed rounds almost like a passive for the whole game. If there are too many elite enemy at the same time, it could cause a bullets problem. Since we're using an assault rifle tactical version, it only has 45 bullets. But still, most of the time you won't have to worry too much about the magazine as long as you shoot wisely. Some people like to use light machine gun or double gun. It is a very good choice, I tried it myself, but I still like the assault rifle a little bit more since it can take out the elite enemies so quick. Just look at this. And for the armor, I don't have a very good one. If you have a bonus firepower, close range damage and long range damage, that would be the best. And for the mods, we are using the radical therapy. You will do 15% more damage against enemies with toxic effects. And for the second mod, I'm using the perseverance shield. It will give you a shield whenever your health drops below 30%. It can save your life sometimes. If we don't have bladed rounds or too many enemies are attacking us, this will ensure us to have like a second chance. And for the pants, it's best that if you have firepower, close range damage and long range damage as well. But the most important part is the mods. The mods that I'm using here is the spare mag. Bladed round will now have one more additional magazine. If we have taken 2 or 3 elites in a row and we run out of ammo for the first magazine, we'll still have the second magazine, so we'll have the ability to clean up the fields. And the second mod that we're using is the freezing boost. Boost your damage against enemies with freeze by 15%, which our turret will do the job of applying freeze effects. And for the gloves, I'm using the bonus firepower and close range damage. And the best part is the mods. It has personal space. It gives you 15% bonus close range weapon damage, which is almost like a passive since we will be facing up our enemies like face to face. And the other mods that I use is the Dum Dum bullets, which will give our assault weapon 10% more damage. And lastly is our shoes. I'm using the one with the critical analyze and the phantom dash as the mod. It will give us 30% more critical damage when we are using bladed rounds. And the reason why we are using the phantom dash is because when we are surrounded by enemies, we might not be able to get out safely. In this situation, phantom dash becomes super powerful. You can now roll through the enemies. If you're reloading or for whatever reason you're not able to clear the enemies around you, this can save your life. And this is the 10 mods that I'm using with my gear. It doesn't matter which aim mod, as long as you got this mod, then it will be fine. And at the end of the video, I will put some combat footage for you to see how this build works. Let me know what you think about this build. And let me know how you build your Outrider as well in the comment section below. But that will be it for today's video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe. I'll be making more gaming videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Shira, about those energy spikes? The insurgents had a functioning power cell down.
What did you do?
It's disabled. I'll freeze the heat, you can't take a look at it. That's not a
It was the light.